Guys, we are officially in Turkey, and it has been one of the easiest, quickest and most honest border crossings of all our trip. In this video we'll talk about border crossings, what to do, how to do it, the documentation needed generally speaking, and more in detail how to leave Europe and enter Turkey, so the visas, the insurance, the documentations, the costs and so on.
We are Aldo, Vera and Toto. For over 5 years, we have been driving around the world with our self-converted tiny home on wheels, and we visited more than 50 countries on 5 continents. Next destination, Africa. Through our videos, we show how beautiful, but at the same time, how fragile our planet is, hoping to raise awareness about environmental concerns and inspire people to take action. Subscribe to our channel, enjoy our adventure.
So, generally speaking, when you're doing a border crossing, there are some documents that you need to have. Prepare before leaving the country, your passports, the car documents, the logbook, and the insurance of the country you are entering into. Nowadays, in 2021, you also need a vaccination for the COVID or a negative test done between 72 to 48 hours before, depending on the test you take. There are some researches that you need to do few months in advance, and some of them just the day before or a few hours before entering the new country. The one you do a few months in advance are, of course, if you need a visa, if you can go with your car, how long you can stay with your car, your route, for example, and so on. The day before doing the border crossing, maybe get a shave, have a shower, be presentable. This is your business card with the border officer, so this is something that it's important. Don't overdo it, but just be presentable. We suggest you to take a screenshot of maybe the currency, the exchange rate, so you have it and you know what is the value. Also download an offline map and save bookmark few points. For example, the closest Wi-Fi, supermarket, where to buy a SIM card. So for the first few days that you are at the border in the country, you already know how to move. We recommend you to have at least 100 to 200 kilometers autonomy with your vehicle, and also have a food and water for 2-3 days. If you do have some small change, some coins from the old currency of the country you're living, we advise you to put some fuel or buy some snacks, because generally they won't take at the exchange office, they won't take coins, only banknotes. So do have some euros or US dollars with you in case you need to buy something, for example, like a temporary insurance cover. So these are the guidelines on how to do a border crossing, the documents you have and what to expect. There are obviously some exemptions, and there is the matter of the carnet de passage, but this is a topic that is like opening another book, so we'll probably make another video more detailed in the future. Now we're gonna tell you how our experience was in Turkey and how you can exit Europe and what you need to do when you cross the border here in this country. So guys, I'm gonna tell you now more in details how to enter Turkey with the European vehicle or a UK vehicle. As you're leaving the European community, you are entering into a different country, there are some restrictions. So you cannot bring fresh fruit and vegetables, raw fish and meat, dairy products and honey. Also, about the cigarettes and tobacco, you can only bring 200 cigarettes into Turkey and 200 grams of tobacco. About the alcohol, the maximum allowance is 1 liter per person if the alcohol is above 22%, or 2 liters if it is below 22%. So for example, each person can take 2 liters of wine and beer entering into Turkey. You're gonna need your passports, the car documents, and a green card or an insurance that cover you for driving into Turkey. Then, of course, a proof of vaccination or COVID or the negative test. Let's proceed now step by step. We crossed the border between Bulgaria and Turkey at Capicule. Now, imagine a land border crossing to look like an extended toll booth, like on a motorway. But instead of being just one post, one toll booth and one person, you have different toll booth and stations where you have to show different documents to different people. So first thing, we had to leave Bulgaria, and on exiting the country we had to show our passport. It was done very quickly, just by scanning and checking that everything was okay, and then off we went to the Turkish border. Here the first thing you see, it's a little stand where they ask you the compliance with the COVID regulations. So you have to show either your proof of vaccination or a negative test taken between 48 to 72 hours depending on the test that you took. After that, there is the police check. That is for the people, so for us. We then had to show our passport, and being European, we got 90 days visa-free. This also applies to British citizens. If you're coming from US or Canada, for example, you will need an e-visa in advance. Next step is customs. This is for the vehicle. So here you have to show the car documents, the logbook, and if you do have an insurance to be able to drive in Turkey. Now, we did not have the insurance, so they told us to park and then go purchase it before coming back. You can either ask your insurance company to see if they can give you a green card for Turkey, or like we did, simply walk 50 meters and buy the insurance. This is the insurance that we bought at the border. We did some research before entering Turkey, so we knew that more or less the prices would have been around 40 euros per month, 90 for 2 months and 120 for 3 months. We wanted to buy initially just 2 months, but then the person at the booth told me that the minimum is 3 months. And I have to say that they've been very honest, because for 3 months we only paid 397 liras and 50 cents. So that's the equivalent of about 40 euros. So that was an excellent deal. Now, considering that outside Europe, the average figure is about 50 euros per month, like I told you in one of our previous videos, this is really a good deal. I'm very happy about it. So now, with the insurance in your hand, you just go next door into the D3 office, which is still part of the customs, and you present the insurance, the documents of the car, the logbook, and the passport of the driver, so in that case me. And they insert all these details into their system. After this step, they tell you to come back to the custom post at the border for the baggage check. So we re-enter in the car, we drove back and opened all the door for the inspector, for the officer, to have a look at what we had. He asked us a few questions: what we do, where you're going, what you're carrying. You just be honest, you tell them the things we already knew about the allowances, so we did not have those things, and it was a quick and simple process. After that, it was just a case of driving a few hundred meters out of the border and show at another booth all the documentation now stamped. But when we exited, I looked at Vera and I said, Vera, wait a second, we got the stamps on our passport, that's the insurance, but what about the temporary permit, the temporary import permit that they give us every time we enter into a country with our vehicle? Because this is, for example, how it works in South America. When you enter in a different country, they give you a piece of paper with the entry date and how much time you are allowed to stay in the country with your car. Now, we did not have this document, and this was a big problem. I remember back in Thailand a few years ago, where they almost asked us $800 in fee for a mistake that they did when we entered at the port. So I wanted to make sure that now the same thing wouldn't happen again when we will leave Turkey. I turned around and I walked on feet back to the border, and I asked some explanations. So they told me that basically in Turkey it works like this: they don't give you a paper, but everything is inserted in the D3 office into their system. So all your details, the registration number of the car, your passport number, is all in their system. If something should happen, they will know it in case of a fine, for example, if you commit an offense, and they will also know the time you stayed in the country when you exit Turkey. So the stamp on the passport, the 90 days allowance for us, it is the same for the vehicle. Here we are in Turkey. A new chapter has just begun. We hope you liked the video and it did provide you with some useful information. If you have any questions, just write them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give us a like, and see you soon. This place is incredibly busy. So the reason why we are here between Edirne and Istanbul, it's because Bella is waiting for an important package. This is the chef. And he had to pay 70 euros for unpaid tolls.
You don't know which water to drink and if it's safe.